Yep. Okay, cool. Okay, hi you guys. I'm here at Catalina Island. I'm at the USD's Environmental Center, and it's really cool. So I'm gonna show you guys. There's like a lot that I've done in the last couple of days, but I'm gonna share with you guys more about like the site because there's really cool things that they have here on site. And then when I get back, I'll talk to you guys about the studies that we did. And then because we did some cool stuff with like harmful algal blooms and like eutrophication that we can do. I like learned how to do it so we can do it in a bay, which is really cool. But anyways, so I'm here. This is part of the center, and like a really cool thing about this place is the director. His name is Dr. Nielsen. He is like really incredible, super inspiring, but like he wanted to turn Catalina Island into like its own sustainable microgrid. And so they've got things like, here's like an aquaponics tank, and actually in like the bottom of this, like, so you can see the diagram here, there's like fish in this like part down here. And then I'm gonna show you guys something that's like super cool. So he came up with this idea of like turning the food waste from the cafeteria into food for the fish for the aquaponics tank. So like, and then this is our like little sustainable garden, which is pretty cool. And then, oh my gosh, okay, something else that's like super cool is they're the way that they're gonna try to get clean water here for that island, instead of like going the whole process of like purifying water, they're trying to do desalination. So that's what this is here. So they literally just put like a bunch of like water, salt water, and then the salt just like goes down to the bottom part of this, and then the water goes here, and then they just treat it with ozone, and then they can drink it, which is really cool. So okay, listen to this. So they take the food waste from the cafeteria, which is up there, check out the solar panels, and then they dehydrate the food, which means they just like get all the water out of it, and then it goes into this thing here, which is a fly house. And so this is super cool. And hang on a second. This is, can you guys hear me still? Yeah. Okay, cool. So this is Garrett. He runs the fly house, so he's a full-time employee here, and he's gonna explain like what this is all about. I hope you guys like it. I was like super nerding out when I saw this. Okay. And also like ask him questions. If you guys have questions, I don't know, if we can try to make this into a way that like a format that works, like you should ask him questions because it's super cool and like a cool approach to like dealing with food waste. Okay.
Hi guys. Wow. Take it on
Yeah. Do you want to see them, or do you care that it's like this? Okay. Okay.
So cool. Lauren explains you guys are an AP environmental class. That was one of my favorite classes when I was in high school. So that's good to hear that you guys are learning about this kind of stuff. So basically what we have here is black soldier fly rearing, and black soldier flies are all over the world. They're originally from the East Indies. So they're from a warm, really humid environment. So that's what we're trying to recreate here with the shipping container. So it makes it super fun to work in when it's 90 degrees and 60 or 70% humidity. That's what they like. It keeps them from drying out. And yeah, so we use it to process all of our food waste here at Wrigley. So I guess we can start with the food.
You guys, this is like ideas for like a job if you want to do something APES-y after college.
So all of our food, anything that's compostable that'll break down in nature, so food, biodegradable napkins, toothpicks, anything like that, that comes out of our cafeteria will go through an industrial dehydrator, and it serves a few purposes. It stops it from ever rotting. So the dehydrator takes all the moisture out, and you're just left with this, which is, I mean, it smells. I mean, you can smell it if you want, but it smells good to me. It smells a little bit kind of like just good soil, but it has no moisture in it. And this is then the homogenized food that we'll feed to the animals. Then we'll process it first to take out any of the larger bits like bones.
Keelan.
I guess this is where it starts with the hatching tent. So, well, I guess we start with the flies. The flies have a very, very short life cycle. It's only 5 to 7 days. They don't exactly have mouth parts, which makes them another great organism because unlike common houseflies, they can't transmit disease, at least not the flies themselves directly. So that's a great benefit, and they have a really short life stage. So we don't have to feed them since they don't have mouth parts, so we just provide them with water and then an ideal place to mate and reproduce. So right now we have these 2 tents. Both of them have adult flies in them. This one is closed, or we're not adding any new flies to it because really they're in the die-off phase. They're in the back end of that 7 to 8 days. So we give them a plant and different watering cans. That way they have water to absorb. And then they need light. They need light and, like I said, humidity and high temperatures. But what they need for laying their eggs is somewhere that they can smell kind of aromatic, not necessarily rotting food, but food that they know will be good for their developing offspring. So, and they need a dark place. So under here we have basically corrugated pieces of cardboard or plastic. And so that provides them like a nice cramped, small place for them to insert their egg masses. And then the bucket underneath, that has some adult larvae in it and some rotting food that they're feeding on. And that provides the scent that they need to know to deposit there. And that's how we can control where they deposit. And even still, there are cracks and crevices like under the pot. And when I go to clean it out at the end of a cycle, you'll find masses of eggs there too. So it's not as strict.
I have a question.
Yeah. And then we don't have any eggs right now.
It's okay.
I just started them.
Can you show them the like larvae?
Yeah. So this is where we grow out all of the larvae. It's where we feed them that food waste. And so they're at different stages right now. We only have 4 or 5 bins because we've only been up and running for a few months now.
You guys check this out.
But it takes about 2 weeks for them to grow out completely from 5 milligrams to 120.
Okay.
No.
They're in all different sizes right now.
You guys, that's awesome.
So these bins can house about 45,000 larvae, and across their whole grow out period for about 2 weeks, they will in total consume about 20 pounds of food, which means we can process a significant amount of food, all of our cafeteria food, in just this small 20-foot by 8-foot shipping container.
So do you guys understand that like the food waste gets dehydrated? Is that what this is?
This is a mix. This is a mix of sawdust, which just gives it volume, so it's not packed and it doesn't suffocate them. Mixed with the food waste.
So like the food waste is this this stuff in here plus like some sawdust, and then that's where like all these worms, like the larvae, are. That makes sense. Cool.
Yeah, so it takes about 2 weeks, and a lot of people that do this at home or that find them in the compost bins, they self-harvest, which means when they're white like this, but you can see that there's none on the surface because they hate the light and they hate the dry areas. So that's why you turn it over to see them, is because they dig down to the bottom, they find the food, they find the moist, dark areas. And then when they're ready, when they start to pupate, when they become pre-pupa, which is this bin that we'll be harvesting today. So you can see there are some flies in here because they have hatched, but these black casings. So
can you guys see that?
Oh yeah.
I can I'll shift something much more exciting. So after about 2 weeks, if they haven't been harvested and fed something, they will stop moving, stop eating, and pupate. They'll begin to metamorphosize into flies. That's some on top.
You guys, it looks like the bugs that we ate earlier this year. Look at that. Look.
Someone kind of smells a little bit, but so that's them at their pre-pupa stage. So they've transitioned into liking lit areas that are dry, but they still are feeding a little bit. They're not quite there yet. So we put these potatoes. We just put a concentrated food source, a potato or something starchy, and they'll feed on that until eventually they'll pupate.
Awesome. Cool. Do you guys have any questions?
I have a question. Hey guys, real quick. Yeah.
What's up, Kristen?
Then ask a question. Yep. Then ask a question and mute right away. Okay.
Oh, Miss Diaz, I have a question.
Yes.
What do the flies do again?
What do you?
So the flies themselves have no part in eating the food waste. They don't really eat it at all. They just need water and the right conditions to mate, because they live basically off the fat reserves. So the flies are simply to keep the population going.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, we don't like the flies are. I guess you could compost the flies. Like you can see, there's all these dead flies in the older tent of the two, but the larva will harvest. And I was explaining that a lot of backyard methods, they auto harvest. So you just let them pupate, and when right before they pupate, like I said, they like lit areas, so they'll crawl out of the food, and you just put a bucket and like a little ramp, and you can just walk away, and they'll harvest themselves in that way. And so you can feed them like chickens and stuff. But what we're trying to do here is harvest them while they're still white, because when they transition from one phase to another, so does their protein and fat content. So they become like less nutrient dense, less ideal ratio when they're black. So that's what we're trying to do here, is figure out the best way to ramp this up into an industrial scale where you can harvest them en masse in the non, I guess, lazy method. But yeah, then we can feed them to our aquaponics fish and our aquaculture fish. People have chickens on the island, so they take them home. They love that because then they don't have to haul out expensive chicken feed.
Or we could like eat them like we did earlier this year.
Yeah. This one here is guard larva.
Here, look, check it out.
So
But Kristen,
the easiest way is to the easiest way is just feed them whole, or freeze them and then cook them as they are, as many like Asian countries do with other insects. But you can grind them up, or dry them out, grind them up, and then separate the fats out, and then make pellets out of it and feed it as a substitute for traditional fish meal, which is great because then it supplements lower trophic level fish we're taking from the ocean.
cool. Okay, hey you guys, can you guys all say thank you?
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Okay, okay, guys. Okay, like 1:15 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll be cool. I'm gonna harvest that thing, so
Oh,
we'll be able to
perfect.
see.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, guys. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'll be like posting more videos too, because I feel like this is getting kind of long. Do you guys want to try to see the greenhouse?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, you guys sound really excited. Okay. All right, let me see if they're ready, and then yeah, make sure you guys should check out check out that Instagram stuff, because I'm trying to post as much stuff as we're doing, because we're doing a lot more than just like hanging out on site. Like, check this out. This is really cool. So this here is crazy. What it does is it just takes air and it condenses it and it gets water out of it, and then like this literally can fill up your water bottle. It's insane. It's really cool. There's like a bunch of really cool stuff here. But I'll share with you guys like when I get back like the research that we did, and then how that's going to translate for us, because we're going to be able to like do some of this monitoring and stuff. So hang on a second. Sorry. Okay. Can I introduce you? Okay. So here's another potential job for you guys. So we've been working with Megan, and she's awesome. She's also a grad student, and she is gonna lead the tour for us through the greenhouse. Hi guys. So awkward. Here's the greenhouse. This is AP Environmental Science. Yeah.
So we have our greenhouse here where we grow food. What are some things that we need to produce food? Water. Yeah. So what we have in here is aquaponics and hydroponics. Does anyone know the difference between those two?
Hydro would be they grow in water.
So they both grow in water.
Yeah.
So we're growing food in water. One of the systems, however, aquaponics has fish in the system. So one of the systems does not have fish, and we have to add fertilizer. The other system, we have fish in there, and they actually fertilize the water organically. So I'll show you guys a little bit more.
Hey, you guys, it's like the nitrogen cycle.
Exactly, yeah. So come on in. This is our tank with our local freshwater fish.
You want to see the fish?
It's a little bit dark in there. You might not be able to see.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like pond water.
Yeah.
So yeah, they produce ammonia, which then it turns into like nitrates and nitrites through nitrification of bacteria. And then that fertilizes the water. And then the water cycles through to all the plants here. So these plants are fully submerged in water. This is green onion. It's some of the biggest green onion I've ever seen. Yes. And it grows really fast. We harvest it. We have some peas in here. This is chard. Yeah, it's a red chard. And then what the plants actually do for the fish is it filters the water and oxygenates the water. So we don't need a filter for the fish. The plants do all the work. So it's an all-in-one complete system. So amazing.
So you guys, it's like closed loop cycle.
It is, yeah. And what's cool is it actually uses 90 to 95% less water than traditional farming. So although it looks like a lot of water, it uses way less water than farming and almost 70% less energy.
You have a fish allergy? Orphanages provide and they could sell the extra produce at the markets to get money to pay the other things.
Very cool. Yeah.
Ms. Diaz?
Yeah. What's up?
It's kind of quiet. It's I don't know if the audio is breaking up or if people are
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna I'll just show you guys this side, and then I'll like hop off. So this is what she was talking about, the part with the soil, and I can take a video of this later and share this with you guys so you guys can hear a little bit better. But it's pretty cool, and this is like the largest scale hydroponics, aquaponics that I've seen before. Okay, I'm gonna hop outside because I can't really hear you. Okay, thank you so much.
Who are those people? Where they come from?
Okay, cool. Okay, hey, you guys, thank you so much for like being go with the flow. Stop it. So I'll keep posting stuff and like share things with you guys. If you have questions, like please email me, let me know, and I'll try to like post things. Okay, cool.